And each April for 116 years running, the city that once served as the nation's capital has served as the center of the track and field universe, playing host to one of the sport's ultimate tests of teamwork. Today, some of America's top runners unite at historic Franklin Field to take on a field of elite international talent at the oldest and largest track and field event on American soil. It's USA versus the world at the 2011 Penn Relays. And once again, the University of Pennsylvania hosts the most storied track and field carnival in America. And on an overcast afternoon, athletes from all over the country and from around the world have made their annual trek to Philly for the kickoff of another outdoor season. And the streets around Franklin Field are full of fans as we join USA Track and Field's Visa Championship Series and the 12th edition of USA versus the World at the Penn Relays. And the fans have already packed the stadium, and we're heading right to the track for our first event as we set up the college men's 4x100 meter relay championship of America. As you take a look at some of the best times in the country, there you saw Texas A&M, Otto Bolden. They are ready to run.
And they have a young man on second, Gerald Peary, who has run 10.06 this year. They have the fastest collegiate time this year. They're considered the favorites.
And TCU, and look, they're wearing the full bodysuit.
They probably have about 20 of those. You talk about a team with history. They have the collegiate record at 38.04 and also the Penn record. They will be anchored by Charles Simon, a sophomore. Stillman.
And Florida running out of lane 7.
And if you want to put your gaze on a lane, put it on lane 7. Jeff Demps, the fastest man in collegiate athletics, 2010 NCAA champion and 2011 indoor champion. He also, of course, is known for his football exploits.
And then Pat Henry has brought a great group of, Dennis Shaver, a great group of athletes from LSU.
Yeah, and Dennis Shaver always seems to have his teams ready at the right point. They have great history here at Penn. They won 4 in a row from 05 to 08.
And Otto, a look at the field as we see lane 1 will remain open. South Carolina, Texas, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, TCU, Florida, LSU, and Indiana. And I mentioned that there are a couple of athletes out there with the bodysuits on. It's a bit chilly here. Texas, as well as TCU, look ready to pop off the Penn Relays 2011 with the college men's 4x1. And a fair start as they'll make their way around the track for the first exchange.
And it really is, wow, on the outside, Florida off to a very, very good start. Lots of going on at the exchange. Right now, it's LSU in the driver's seat. TCU and A&M have a lot of work to do to catch them.
Here's the second exchange. LSU moving around very well, and they're getting the wow from the crowd.
But they're making a move on the inside. A&M right back in it.
LSU with a monster lead as they take that final exchange. And coming up the home straightaway, LSU is going to run away with the college men's 4x100 meter relay championship of America.
Well, this has very little to do with how fast you are and a lot to do with how well you pass the stick. And really surprising to see Texas A&M drop the stick on anchor and LSU turn this into a walk. I talked about the fact that Dennis Shaver always has his teams ready to compete. Ready to compete means you are ready to pass this stick. LSU led from wire to wire. There they are on the outside in lane 8. And from the first pass, they were in the lead and never handed it back. Florida had a shaky first exchange. A&M, okay first exchange. Look at LSU. Even at this point, they were 4 meters clear of this field. And as you see on the final sprint up the home straightaway, no contest, LSU by 20 meters over the rest of this field.
And let's go downstairs to Dwight.
All right, Lewis. Gabriel, I know that you know and have confidence in your team, but do you expect to have that big a lead when the stick got to you?
Considering what we went through yesterday, I had great confidence in kids because this is the first time ever we tried this kind of relay. Most of the time it was Barrett Nugent first leg, but every one of us was ready, and I knew I was going to do a great job.
Well, you turned out with you got a great lane draw being out there with the turns a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, I mean, really, I was expecting to win, but I had a great lead. I just can't do nothing but just thank all the three guys, including myself, because they just put me out there, and I just had to come home strong.
All right, congratulations. They blew them away, Lewis.
All right, Dwight, that's a heck of a start for LSU. They run the second fastest time ever at the Penn Relays, winning in 38.77. Florida in 40 flat, followed up by third place, which was TCU. USA versus the world at the Penn Relays is brought to you by Nike Running and by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And Visa, proud sponsor of Team USA. More people go with Visa. Our coverage of track and field continues on ESPN. It's the 12th annual USA versus the World at the Penn Relays in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hi, everybody. Lewis Johnson welcoming you back once again. And as a broadcaster, today has some real historic significance because it was 50 years ago yesterday that the great Jim McKay stood in this stadium and welcomed a brand new show to ABC. It was Wide World of Sports. And hard to believe that 50 years later, the Penn Relays celebrates its 117th edition. As I welcome in Otto Bolden and Dwight Stones. And guys, it's going to be a fantastic afternoon of relay running. Otto, the Jamaicans and the Americans going at it in the sprint relays. Great storylines on both the men's and women's side.
Yeah, USA versus Jamaica is always the dominant theme here at the Penn Relays. This year is no exception. Asafa Powell, we will see him at leadoff. Now, he anchored the Olympic 4x1 to go for Jamaica. Also anchored the World Championship team for Jamaica as well. He's a former world record holder. And interestingly enough, he is leading off against Justin Gatlin. Now, you may remember Gatlin as the 2004 Olympic 100-meter champion. He is coming back from a 4-year drug suspension, and he too will lead off. These are two guys who are used to running anchor legs, but they will lead off here, USA versus Jamaica.
All right, and in the ladies' side, we're going to see two ladies who will battle against each other later in the year, but today they're teammates.
Yeah. Track fans are really salivating over the prospect of Allison Felix versus Sonia Richards at 400 meters in Daegu. But for today, they will be teammates. Allison Felix is a 3-time 200-meter world champion, and she will team up today with Sonia Richards-Ross. 400 meters, 4x4 against the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans are coming with a very, very good team that matched up against them today.
All right, Dwight, I can see Otto trying to steal all the thunder today with his sprint stuff. So we've got some great distance relay events also as well. What will you be watching for today?
Well, you know, Bernard Legat first ran with a USA jersey on at these Penn Relays, USA versus the world in the distance medley relay. Of course, he won 2 Olympic medals for Kenya before he switched his citizenship, and he's the only man to ever win the 1,500, 5,000-meter double at the World Championships for the USA back in 2007. In Boston indoors, this man, Russell Brown, the ex-Stanford standout, really surprised at the Boston Indoor Games, winning the mile. He has since set a PR in the 1,500 meters last week, running 3:35.70 at Mount Sac. And then Phoebe Wright, who had a fantastic senior season at Tennessee in the 800 meters, won the NCAA meet and has transferred that right into her first pro career, is hoping to make her first World Championship team this summer.
And we are ready to get back to the action on the track now with the high school boys 4x100 meter championship of America. As you took a quick look at the records, and this is always an exciting event, Otto Bolden, as we take a look at the field. Lane 1 remains open. And down in lane 6, Monroe College has run 39.92 to win the Jamaican high school championships, and they will be something to watch.
I was in Jamaica for those championships. They're anchored by a young man actually from the Turks and Caicos, Delano Williams. But look at the dominance of Jamaica in the last decade or so at the Penn Relays. And interesting note, even lane 2, the American team, they're coached by a Jamaican coach. So Jamaica is all over this high school boys 4x1, but Monroe College is certainly the team to beat. They have run 39.92 this year. They ran that at Champs, as it's known in Jamaica, their high school championships. But make no mistake about it, St. Elizabeth Tech to their outside, as well as Kingston College on the inside in 3.
fair start to the high school boys 4x100-meter championship of America.
Right now, it's actually Wilmer's boys looking very good on the outside. Wilmer's, Jamaica College, and St. Elizabeth Tech in the lead. Monroe with a little bit of work to do.
Coming up to the second exchange on the backstretch. And all sticks have passed through.
Jamaica College and Wilmer is kind of running away with this. But look at Monroe College coming right back. Remember, they have a spectacular anchor in Delano Williams, but have they left it too late? Look at Wilmer's on the outside.
And right against the wall on the outside in the red shorts, that's Wilmer's boys of Jamaica wowing the crowd and winning the relay.
And they are the defending champs and the record holders here at Penn. And you see why the time does not matter. This will send shockwaves around Jamaica because Monroe College, as I said, champs just a few weeks ago at the high school championships. But they were demolished by a fantastic effort from Wilmer's boys. And Lewis, we've seen 2 races, and the teams on the outside are having better luck. Remember, this is not a regular track. It's a very circular track. Teams on the outside, look at how far in the lead Wilmer's was. They had a little bit of a shaky handoff right here. Look how long it took for them to complete this pass. He got out a little bit early, did the third leg, but once they got it, the advantage of being on the outside, you have to kind of go for broke. You cannot see. And this was not anywhere as we expected it to go on paper. Anchor leg had a very, very safe pass, and look at the lead. This was supposed to be close. It really was not. As Wilmer's wins for the second year in a row at the Penn Relays.
Well, the boys from Wilmer's made the trip from Kingston, Jamaica to Philly and took care of business, winning in 40.420 seconds. And look at that passion and emotion. And coming up next, Phoebe Wright, a collegiate star for Tennessee, now making the jump to the world stage at the Penn Relays. And welcome back to Franklin Field as we kick off the beginning of the Visa Championship Series for this 2011 outdoor season. And as we do that, we step back and look at what happened on the indoor circuit. Jen Shore won it on the women's side with 1,211 points. And then it was Mike Rogers, the short sprinter, winning for the men. And they collected checks for $25,000, those beautiful trophies. That equals nice smiles because they were awfully excited about what happened. And just to refresh your memory of how this works, athletes' performances translate to points, and at the end of the series, the leaders on both the men's and women's side will be crowned Visa champions. But a special note for today, since there are no individual events being held, the Penn Relays will not be a scoring meet for the Visa Championship Series. But it won't be long before that battle for the title begins as we look at the spring schedule. The Prefontaine Classic coming up on June 4th, the Adidas Grand Prix in New York on the 11th of June, and then, of course, the U.S. Outdoor Track and Field Championships later in that month. Now, here's a young lady who'll be battling for those points later. Phoebe Wright, a former Tennessee Volunteer, now a member of an emerging women's middle distance group making some noise on the world stage. And she's doing that with some of the great ladies that we've seen come up in the world of track and field for the United States. Anna Pierce, Jen Simpson, and Shannon Roberry, Morgan Usini. And today, Phoebe Wright is the subject of our Visa Future Stars.
This may sound weird, but competing as a professional I find is much more laid back than competing as a collegiate. Well, at first it was great because I had all this free time, but now I'm kind of starting to get antsy, and I'm actually going to audit some classes next fall. Over the past 4 years, I've seen steady improvement. I haven't stagnated, I haven't plateaued, but I didn't change my training group, I didn't change my coach. I want to keep on doing what I've been doing and hopefully see the same results. Every race, I try and stay relaxed the first half and then run with my heart the second half. And running with your heart encompasses a lot of things. Running through the line to the very end, you don't think about pain. Pain doesn't exist at that point. You're just running to run.
And Phoebe Wright down on the track now, waiting to join her team for this women's sprint medley relay. And she has really had an excellent career at the University of Tennessee, but ready now to make that big jump. And this is a great place to start at the Penn Relays. take a look now at the USA versus the world sprint medley records. Jamaica holding that best time set back in 2009.
And they have been simply dominant in this event at the Penn relays. They are anchored by Kenya Sinclair, who's run 157 for that anchor leg 3 years in a row. And you see that lineup: Karan Stewart, the Olympic silver medalist from Beijing, at 100 meters, running their 200-meter leg.
And also the USA red team out there with Portia Lucas, Lashante Moore, Sheena Tosta. And I believe we've had a change, Otto, that Phoebe Wright is now going to be running on the USA blue team.
Correct. And Latavia Thomas, in fact, will anchor that USA red team. That was a late change.
A quick look at the field. Lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4 will remain open. And then USA blue in 5. Jamaica 6, USA red 7. Russia is here. They're in lane 8, and then Nigeria in 9. We've almost forgotten about the other countries.
And let's not overlook, with all the USA-Jamaica talk, Russia has brought a pretty substantial team here, and they should factor as well.
And so if you're not familiar with the sprint medley relay, this is how it works. The first 2 legs are 200-meter runs, and in the third leg we'll run the quarter, followed by the anchor, which is the 800-meter run. And there's Phoebe Wright waiting to anchor her team.
And remember last year, Kenya Sinclair getting the stick in second and then reeling off that monster time, bringing Jamaica home with the win. Let's see how they go this year.
And a fair start in the sprint medley relay. USA blue, Jamaica, USA red, Russia, and Nigeria.
And it's actually Nigeria on the outside looking very good. But now here comes the move from Portia Lucas in lane 7 for USA red. And it does appear to be USA red handing off just about even with Nigeria. So Nigeria and USA red, in fact, right now even.
And Blessing Okabari of Nigeria making her move, but you hear the crowd now because it's USA red and Lashante Moore beginning to make up some of the distance coming up the home straightaway for the exchange for the 400-meter leg.
And some of that noise is for Karan Stewart, the Olympic silver medalist at 100, who's put Jamaica right back in a shaky pass for the U.S., but they are in the lead now. That is Sheena Tosta, the former Bruin Olympic silver medalist of 400-meter hurdles from Beijing. Look at Jamaica now making that move. That's Melaine Walker. These two are very familiar with each other because Melaine Walker is the Olympic champion at 400-meter hurdles.
So Melaine Walker has cruised to the lead now with just a slight edge over Sheena Tosta of the United States. And now it's Tosta coming up on the outside, but Melaine Walker says no.
And these two battled last year because Melaine Walker went out hard and then faded. Let's see if Tosta can do it again. And now right back into the mix is Nicole Leach, another 400-meter hurdler. So 400-meter hurdlers 1, 2, 3. But today it's Melaine Walker, Olympic and world champion, seizing the lead. Jamaica in the driver's seat.
And so Melaine Walker hands the baton off to Kenya Sinclair for Jamaica. USA blue now in second with Phoebe Wright there. And Latavia Thomas. Jamaica with a sizable lead as they move down the back straightaway.
50.9 for Melaine Walker. That's an impressive split for a 400-meter hurdler. I can tell you right now, the Jamaican fans have to be feeling very, very comfortable because Kenya Sinclair has been unbeatable on this leg for the past 3 years. Phoebe Wright, you know she's a very, very good tactician. I expect her to wait and strike at the opportune moment. But right now, Kenya Sinclair doing a good job of keeping these two other anchors at bay. And the crowd cheering her on.
Coming up to take the bell in the sprint medley relay, it's Kenya Sinclair of Jamaica with the lead. Now Phoebe Wright has moved up into second, followed by Latavia Thomas. And Kenya Sinclair looking awfully relaxed, but now here's Phoebe Wright with all of that experience that you talked about from her collegiate days at the University of Tennessee, trying to measure the distance as they are now 300 meters away from the finish.
NCAA experience is one thing. The woman in front of her anchoring for Jamaica, Kenya Sinclair, has run 157.8. So this will say a lot if Phoebe Wright is even able to close this gap. But right now, you have to like how Kenya Sinclair looks, starting to open up a gap. I think this race is pretty much over. Kenya Sinclair for the fourth year in a row, is going to bring this sprint medley relay home for Jamaica.
The Jamaican flags are waving. Home straight away. Kenya St. Clair with the lead. And Jamaica will win 5 straight in the women's sprint medley relay. What a leg by Kenya St. Clair, who took the lead, and a disappointed Phoebe Wright of the United States running for that USA Blue team, not used to being in that position.
And it must be the Penn relays, because once again, Kenya St. Clair is sub 157, 157.2. But let's go back to that 400-meter leg, because at this point in the race, it was still very much a race. What a great leg this was. This is the Olympic and world champion, Melaine Walker. Last year, she got run down by Sheena Tosta. You think she didn't come in this year thinking, this is not going to happen to me again? Look at her separate from both Nicole Leach and Sheena Tosta. And she handed off that leg. She handed off after her leg with quite a lead. But look, coming home at the lead that Kenya St. Clair had. Phoebe Wright, we talked about all the great legs that she has run here at the Penn Relays, formerly for the University of Tennessee. But once again, no contest because of Kenya St. Clair and her ability to rattle off 157 legs on that 800-meter leg at the Penn Relays.
And let's get downstairs to Dwight Stones.
All right, Lewis, I got the number 1 and 2 finishing anchors. First to Kenya St. Clair, 4 for 4. If this is the World Championships or the Olympics, you'd be tough to beat.
Well, you know, my season always started out well. Start getting injured. I've been battling a herniated disc, and this year is the best as I've been. So once I stay healthy, I know the season will be good.
How big a help is the crowd here at this meet?
Well, I always come out here to compete to the best of my ability, and knowing that, you know, we have so much fun in the party, and we just want to come out here and give what the Jamaica came out here for.
All right, congratulations on your 4th straight victory. Phoebe Wright, you've run here many times before with Tennessee. This is your first chance to represent the USA. Tell me your feelings about trying to chase down one of the best 800-meter anchors there is.
Yeah, she's good, and I was putting it out there. Just didn't have enough today.
Okay, well, experience is what you're after, and you certainly got some today. Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Dwight. Well, Phoebe Wright's got something to think about, but she'll be on her way as we take a look at the final results. Jamaica wins it in 3:34.64, just missing their world record in this event. USA Red finishes in 2nd, and USA Blue in 3rd. And still to come, Allison Felix and Sonia Richards-Ross, America's top 2 400-meter runners, sure to be competitors later in the season. But today, teammates at the Penn Relays. Sunday afternoon, the NBA playoffs continue on ABC with 2 games. First at 1 Eastern, Zach Randolph and the Grizzlies head to Oklahoma City for Game 1 of the Western Conference semis against Kevin Durant and the Thunder. Then at 3:30 Eastern, catch Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis as LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the Heat host the defending Eastern Conference champions, the Celtics, led by Paul Pierce. The NBA playoffs on ABC, home of the NBA Finals, Sunday. Coverage begins with the Buick Regal NBA Countdown at 12:30 Eastern. Well, fasten your seatbelts, folks. Ready for another big showdown. National pride on the line again, this time in the women's 4x100-meter relay. And I'm telling you, this is a who's who in the world of the short sprints. And there is Allison Felix preparing her mind, getting warmed up for this big showdown. And Dwight Stones talked with her a few moments ago about today and this upcoming season.
Allison, you're doing double duty today, which is something you're getting very used to, running multiple races on one day. Let's talk about the sprint relay first. This is a world championship year, which means it's Allison Felix year. What are you hoping to see happen besides bring your team home to victory?
Just to be a part of the team, you know, bring that energy. It's the first time we're back together again, and, you know, like you said, it's a big year. We're really excited, and we just want to win.
You know, you've really established yourself as a threat at the 100, 200, and 400. Today, you're running with Sonia Richards on a team, but for most of the season, you guys are going to be big competitors all the way through the ultimate meet in South Korea. sort of handicap how you expect things to go this year?
Hopefully things will go well. You know, training's going well, so things are progressing nicely. Got some big decisions to make later on in the year, but like you said today, it's about teaming up, having fun, and, you know, representing the USA.
All right, well, good luck on that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, Allison Felix with that big smile on her face, expecting big things this year from herself, and this is a great way to begin with two important relays, the 4x1, which we will see now, and later in our show, the 4x4. As we take a look at the records, the 2011 best for the United States, 42-45, and there, of course, is the Penn Relays record.
And make no mistake about it, Lewis, appetizer time is over. This is main course. Jamaica has brought a team here that is well capable of winning, and they have only crossed the finish line first once in the past 10 years. So it really has not been good luck at the Penn Relays, as we see Karan Stewart, who will lead off for Jamaica. She ran second leg on the team that finished second. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, the Olympic and world champion, will anchor against Carmelita Jeter of USA Red. Jeter held off Fraser-Price last year.
And so, Otto, lanes 1, 2, and 3 will be open, and USA Blue in 4, Brazil in 5. They've been training in the United States. There's Jamaica in 6, USA Red in 7, Germany in 8, and the Caribbean All-Stars in 9.
So the teams to keep your eye on, Jamaica and USA Red. There's Allison Felix. She'll run that backstretch. I think that's an ideal leg for her. She really does great work on that backstretch, but what a matchup. Sharon Simpson also on that backstretch, and Mickey Barber for USA Blue down the backstretch for that USA team.
And if you look in the background there, you see the Jamaican flags already waving. It's going to take an effort by the starter to get this crowd quiet just for the start.
And a wise move, I think, by Lauren Williams. Just stand up. No way you're going to keep your concentration. And remember, in 2010, the rules changed. If any of these leadoff legs false started, that would be it for their team. They would be disqualified. So the veteran in this group, Lauren Williams, stands up and makes this field reset.
And Otto, this crowd has been on their feet most of the afternoon, but nearly sold out last year when Usain Bolt was here. It was really unbelievable. But again, we have another energetic crowd. And look at Franklin Field, just about packed.
When people line up for tickets for this meet, it's races like this that they want to come see. USA versus Jamaica, 4x1 women.
Jamaica in 6, USA Red in 7. And a fair start in the women's 4x100-meter relay. And Karan Stewart of Jamaica against Lauren Williams of USA Red.
And it's actually the Caribbean All-Stars out well. Jamaica and USA Red make the pass. Here's Allison Felix.
Allison Felix powering down the back straightaway to the roar of the crowd.
Sharon Simpson, the silver medalist in the 100 for Jamaica, has made the pass as well.
And good sticks as Marchavette Myers now with the lead for USA Red. And now Carmelita Jeter has the stick. Jamaica with some work to do, but it's Carmelita Jeter coming up the home straightaway, and she will win it. USA Red victory.
So for the 10th time in 11 years, the USA crosses the line in first. And for all the talk about USA versus Jamaica, and for as well as Jamaica runs in the World Championships and sometimes in the Olympics, the USA has absolutely owned the Penn Relays.
Well,
we're going to get a chance to look at the entire race from beginning to end.
And there's obviously a big disappointment for the Jamaicans, but let's go back and look at the first exchange, Otto, as the beginning of the race.
That's USA Red. Excuse me, that's USA Red in lane 7. Lauren Williams handling the leadoff leg for that team. This is the leg I think she is most naturally suited to. You see her making up the stagger on Germany. The pass to Allison Felix, and Allison Felix, as she has for several years, making a great work of this second leg down the back stretch. There's Felix. And waiting on Allison Felix was Marchavette Myers, who of course made the U.S. team at 200. This is the second exchange. There's Myers taking the stick from Allison Felix. And at this point, this race was all but over. The only thing left was how would the pass go from Myers to waiting on the anchor leg, Carmelita Jeter. This pass was superior to the one they had last year, a good pass, and a race that on paper really shaped up to be a lot closer, turned into a huge victory for USA Red. And once again, they are able to defend home soil, and they're Penn Relays champions.
And we go downstairs to Dwight with the winning team.
All right, Lewis, Carmelita, on paper, this was an incredible team, but also Jamaica brought some real horses to this race. Were you expecting it to be closer than that?
You know what, I always expect a good run when we run against Jamaica. They always step up when it's time to step up, so I knew we were going to have to really get our handoffs together and work as a team to win this race.
7 in a row for the USA, but in the international championships, it's been a tough go for both men's and women's US 4x1 teams. Can we expect to see a difference in that this summer?
We're definitely trying to turn that around. We're trying to get our team together and mentally together on the same page, and I think today was the first time we did it, and it's a good start.
What about your own personal look forward at the World Championships? #1 in the world the last 2 years. You got your hands full with the Jamaicans. How do you expect it to turn out?
You know what, at this point, I just want to stay healthy. I want to stay healthy, and everything will fall into place.
Allison, come in. We talked about a little bit before. You've got a 4x4, of course, to run. What were your thoughts about the way you ran that leg?
Oh, it was fun. You know, I love running with these ladies. I can't wait to do it again. The energy in here is great, and I think we just had a really good time.
All right, go get ready for the 4x4. Thank you, ladies. Excellent job. New Penn Relays record.
That's right, Dwight. A new Penn Relays record, 40-28 for the USA Red team. And the USA Blue finishing in second and Jamaica in third. There'll be something to talk about here in the stadium as the day continues throughout the afternoon. And so USA Red, Williams, Felix, Myers, and Jeter celebrate victory at the Penn Relays. And we're back at historic Franklin Field as we continue our coverage of USA versus the world at the Penn Relays here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Look at this crowd. They have absolutely packed Franklin Field for another exciting afternoon of track and field. Well, we have already had some fireworks here this afternoon, Otto. USA versus Jamaica, and moments ago it was the women's 4x100-meter relay.
And Jamaica are defending world champions, but they didn't look like it today. USA Red and Blue getting the better of them in the women's 4x1.
And there were smiles all around there. And then the women's sprint medley, which was also contested, and it was Jamaica coming out on top.
And Jamaica, for the past 3 years, has won this event based on this young lady, Kenya Sinclair, and her masterful splits at Penn.
And still to come, more USA versus the world at the Penn Relays, featuring the men's 4x100-meter relay. And today marks the return of former Olympic champion Justin Gatlin, who won that Olympic gold back in Athens in 2004, followed it up with 2 world titles in 2005. But Gatlin is just coming off of a 4-year doping suspension for having high levels of testosterone in his system back in 2006.
When I got the phone call from my parents, and they said that they got a pack in the mail that I tested positive. You know the expression, surprised to the point where you fall out your chair? Yeah, it's literal, it's not an expression. Having to go through a whole world that I was never familiar with, the legal system, litigations, courtrooms, never thought really people sat in courtrooms for more than 5 hours. And then realizing that a lot of people care about me. A lot of people look up to me, regardless of anything I've been through, good or bad. They like me as a person. And getting a lot of fan mails, emails, and people telling me, you know what, I've never met you before except one time, and when I met you, it was the most pleasant time I've ever had. And that kind of triggered me to wanting to be back into the world of track and field. It was a downer for me last year. It was a downer that I couldn't get into a lot of meets that I know that I, on an average day in 2004, 2005, 2006, I might have ran or turned down. I was out there in no man's land, basically. You know, I didn't know what I was gonna run once I got to the line. I was out there in a dogfight. You could see the potential was still there. It wasn't like, oh, this guy never had a pedigree. It wasn't like I just came out of nowhere. my perception on it is people are grading you even harder now. You know, even if I left for negativity or positive or just leaving the sport and coming back, people are going to see you and say, you know what, you're done. You know, you're a 05 guy, 06 guy. Now it's like it's 2010, 2011, 2012. There's a whole new generation of kids. If I'm put in the right position, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to die to win. No one trains for silver or bronze. Everyone trains for gold. Everyone trains to be the best in the world. I definitely feel like I can run with these guys. I have to reinvent myself. I have to come into a sport that is totally different now with different kind of competitors, different kind of techniques, faster times, you know, so I have to go out there and become one of them and become great again. It's like a football player putting on his football pads. It's like a basketball player putting on his team jersey. You know, it feels right. It feels like this is where I need to be.
And joined once again by Otto Bolden and Dwight Stones. And guys, let's talk about this. Justin Gatlin stepped back on the track in August of last year, running literally on the C circuit in some meets in Estonia. We take a look at some of those times. His best was back on August 31st, where he ran 10:09. But Otto, the question is, in 2011, can he get back to the form that he was running in 04 and 05? Is that possible?
Well, it's highly unlikely. When Justin Gatlin won the Olympic title in 2004, he ran 9.85. That's not a time that's going to make Tyson Gay and Usain Bolt lose a lot of sleep. As he said, he is now coming back into the 9.5, 9.6 era. And I think, you know, even if he gets back to his best, it's still going to take some more doing to improve to be among the best in the world.
And I'm sure you know this better than anyone. As you're moving toward a World Championships or Olympics, you have to be in the biggest races on the planet throughout the year. And Gatlin is not going to be allowed to run in Zurich, Brussels, the greatest meets in the summer. How in the world is he going to make this comeback when he is basically blackballed from those events?
And that, to me, guys, I think presents the biggest obstacle to this Gatlin comeback. In order to measure himself against Bolt and Gay, he needs to be in those meets. But he can't because of this drug suspension. He is banned, will not be able to line up at any of those major meets. He's going to be on the C circuit running against inferior competition. I think it makes the task that much harder.
All right, Dwight, offer a little perspective here, historical perspective. Gatlin at the top of his game in 04, steps away and comes back. But there are some other athletes who have done the same thing. What do you think about this?
Well, track and field history is against him. The oldest Olympic champion is Linford Christie when he was 32 back in 1992. But let's take a look at some more well-known names. Ted Williams left baseball a couple times, came back, had still a great career. Muhammad Ali changed his technique after the suspension and became the greatest. Skeets Nehemiah debuted here as a sophomore at Maryland at the Penn Relays and became the dominant athlete in track and field, not just a hurdler. Went away to football, came back. He was a good hurdler, but he wasn't the greatest anymore. And then, of course, Michael Jordan decided to try baseball for a while, and that didn't go as well as he'd like. Came back and still had a tremendous NBA career. Gatlin is going to be interesting to watch, but I have my doubts about him ever being in the mix for real at an international championship.
Well, Dwight, we won't have to wait very long because the men's 4x1 is coming up in just a few moments. So in just a couple of seconds, Justin Gatlin rejoins one of two U.S. teams versus Jamaica and the rest of the world in the men's 4x100 meter relay when we return. Back inside Franklin Field, and you can just sense the tension building as everyone is on their feet expecting something pretty incredible to happen. And it was 1 year ago that Franklin Field was in an absolute frenzy when Usain Bolt was on the track with Team Jamaica in the 4x100 meter relay.
And a fair start in this 4x100 meter relay as everyone comes to their feet.
And as promised, here's Bolt, and he has a deficit.
Usain Bolt to the wall of the crowd now takes the lead. Bolt approaching the line. Jamaica wins.
37.91 is a new Penn Relays record.
Usain Bolt came and he delivered.
And all these fans that have gone through all the struggles to get tickets are going to leave happy today because they got a chance to see the world's fastest man.
And now back live, and look at the crowd here, still waving those Jamaican flags. And Usain Bolt not here today, but it doesn't seem to matter, Otto, because there is just an absolute excitement here that's really about to crescendo here as we're now set on the track for USA versus the world, the BMW men's 4x100-meter relay, as you have a quick look at the records. But this is all about USA versus Jamaica, and an incredible matchup as we look back through major championship history at some of the finishes.
And Jamaica in the past 3 years has had the better run, gold in the Worlds and Olympics. The U.S. has not finished a race in the last 2 years, men or women, at championship level.
All right, let's take a look at Team Jamaica running out of lane 7. There's Asafa Powell getting ready.
The world's fastest anchor is leading off, but he's a good 200-meter runner. Everyone on this team has world championship and relay experience. The first 3 were part of the quartet that won gold in Beijing.
And to his inside in lane 6 will be USA Red, and this will be led off by Walter Dix, who is back.
And 2 years ago, Walter Dix had a stellar leadoff leg. This is the team, I think, that can really challenge Jamaica today, and they will be eager to defend home soil. You see Walter Dix nodding. He is ready to go.
And down in 3, Justin Gatlin will lead off the team from USA Blue.
And there's no question this young man running with a chip on his shoulder. A lot of people counting him out, he said. He's at a little bit of a deficit being way down in lane 3. Such a tight turn down there, but Justin Gatlin leading off for USA Blue. And what a race this is setting up to be. Trinidad also the silver medalist from the World Championships in lane 5, in between Great Britain and USA Red.
So lane 1 is open. Canada black in 2, USA Blue in 3, Great Britain in 4, Trinidad, as you just mentioned, at 5. USA Red popping it off with Walter Dix in 6, Jamaica in 7 with Asafa Powell, Germany in 8, and Canada Red in 9. And a couple of underlying storylines here as the gun is now up. Asafa Powell leading it off, Justin Gatlin's return. And a fair start as the crowd comes to a roar. Asafa Powell for Jamaica is out well.
Wow, Asafa Powell is leaving Walter Dix. Jamaica in the lead.
And we've got athletes down on the track, but the Jamaican stick is still moving, as well as both USA teams.
And this on for Jamaica. Nesta Carter, he ran 9.78 last year. Jamaica's in the driver's seat. Does the USA have a response?
Trell Kimmins now passing the stick to Mike Rogers. And Steve Mullins now has the stick for Jamaica. Mullins and Rogers coming up the home straightaway, and look to the left, and Jamaica wins.
And just a little bit of grandstanding there by Steve Mullins. That young man has run 9.90 to start his year. And you have to think, once he got that stick, it was lights out.
Well, the story of this run is going to be Asafa Powell and the way he let it off. But now the Jamaican fans have something to cheer about, because they have just beaten the American team, and in convincing fashion, for a 4x100-meter relay.
And it bears noting the USA Blue team in lane 3 did come up and finish well, but it was all about Jamaica. Asafa Powell literally put this race away at the first leg. He destroyed Walter Dix on that first leg. Let's watch from the beginning. There's Asafa Powell in 7. Look at him just absolutely leaving Walter Dix in his dust. And the pass is made, and down the backstretch goes Frater. As I said, he has Olympic experience. He was on that Jamaican team that won in the Olympics. And then once that pass was made to Nesta Carter, Jamaica were in the driver's seat. USA Blue with Sean Crawford making a very good run on the inside. USA Red with Trell Kimmins keeping it close. But Steve Mullins got the stick in the lead for Jamaica and never looked back, except to take just a little glance back at USA Red and let them know that they were going to lose today. Here's Asafa Powell taking that stick in. Excuse me, here's Asafa Powell taking that stick in to Michael Frater. As you see the fall on the outside by Germany, Michael Frater got the stick and headed off down the back stretch. Now, here's the second exchange. And that is Nesta Carter. All he did last year was run 9.7. And once he got the stick, the Jamaican fans had to be feeling good about their chances. One more stick pass to go for Jamaica, and it was to Steve Mullins. He got a very good stick pass from Nesta Carter, and it was all over but the shouting right now. Steve Mullins, as I said, off to a very good start this year with 9.90.
And down to Dwight Stones now with the winning Jamaican team. Dwight.
You know, Asaf, I asked you if that felt as good as it looked, and you very humbly said?
Yes, it did.
I mean, you're always in good shape early, but this looks like you're even better shape at the end of April than normal.
Well, yeah, I'm a lot stronger this year, you know. Lost a bit more weight, you know, trying to be slim and fit.
You know, how important is this race, this matchup in this arena for the Jamaican Sprint Corps?
Well, you know, it's always exciting journey here because I think this crowd is a lot more nicer than a World Championship, so this is really, there's more adrenaline, you know, pumping through your body because the Jamaican crowd is very big here.
Are we sure we're not in Kingston here?
Repeat that?
I said, are you sure we're not in Kingston here?
I'm not sure. Only the weather can determine that.
An outstanding effort. Again, Jamaica wins the 4x1.
All right, well, a heck of a run, even without Usain Bolt. Asaf Powell and the Jamaicans run the fastest time in the world this year, 38:33. USA Red finishes in second and USA Blue in third. And for Justin Gatlin, his return to running on American soil did not turn out the way he wanted it. But this is just a taste of what he'll have to deal with if he wants to return to the top of his game, as he was as Olympic champion back in 2004. And so celebration all around on the infield with the Jamaican sprinters and in the stands as they win the relay. And back on a beautiful afternoon in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the stadium's still abuzz after the Jamaicans had an unbelievable run in the 4x1, but it was Justin Gatlin who led off for Team USA Blue. And Otto, what do you make of his first run?
Well, he looked decent enough, but this was always going to be a tough leg for him because of this track. Lane 3 is so much on the turn. But it really was all about Asaf Powell on this first leg, who put Jamaica in the lead.
Well, Justin Gatlin had that entire field to look at as he ran the curve, and he is now downstairs below with Dwight Stones.
All right, Lewis, Otto was talking about how difficult it was to get a lane 3 draw. Talk about it from your perspective. How tough was it?
Well, you know, it's such a sharp turn coming off in here at Penn Relays, and lane 3 driving out for about 30 meters, and all of a sudden you're almost like on a left-hand turn. And coming around that turn, it felt pretty good. I just had to make sure I had to throttle it through and bring it into the zone.
Talk to me more about a more important thing. USA on your chest for the first time in 4 years.
It feels great. It feels great to be back. It feels great to hear and see the stadium, people cheering for you. It just feels good to have it on my chest.
You got 3 years of international championship opportunities ahead of you. What are your prospects? Where do you think you'll be 1, 2, 3 years from now?
You know, I'm just going out there like every top sprinter wants to be and just basically just work your way up through the ranks and get up to the top of the podium. And I think that's what my game plan is. I'm just going to simplify it and work my way up like I did from the beginning.
Do you know how tough this road is going to be?
Of course, it's going to be, it's ×2. So however tough it was for me to get here, it's going to be that tough for me to get back.
Good to see you back.
Thank you.
And as Dwight said, it is going to be tough for him to get back. And Justin understands that very clearly. I think he should be encouraged by this run today. And we need to explain that lane 3 is probably on the inside of what for a typical track would be lane 1. It is an extremely tight turn, a difficult task for the comebacking Justin Gatlin.
Well, you know, Otto, that race is worth one more look as Justin Gatlin poses for pictures below. It was an incredible run. Take us through it again.
There in lane 7 is Jamaica. USA Red, Walter Dix trying to keep pace. Germany's going to have a bit of a mishap as they fall. But when Jamaica got that stick, you had to think that if the USA did not close on this leg, it was going to be really a long day for them. And when Nesta Carter got this stick, Jamaica were in the driver's seat simply because this young man ran 9.78 last year. Jamaica Red did a very good job to put a dent in it. But then their anchor, Steve Mullins, really did a good job of holding everyone off and bringing home the win. You have to think that this is a Jamaica team, sans Usain Bolt, so that team can run a lot better.
Well, it's hard to imagine what they'll do when Usain Bolt does join the team, but right now this is Asaf Powell's moment as they win with the world's fastest time. Well, okay, track and field fans, don't forget to play USA Track and Field's Pick and Win fantasy game. Select the athletes you think will win each event of the Visa Championship Series, and you can win great prizes like Visa gift cards and USA Track and Field merchandise while scoring points for your team. So go to VisaChampionshipSeries.com to create your ultimate track and field team and play along. And still to come at the Penn Relays today, some great events, including the women's 4x4 and the men's 4x4, but the men's distance medley coming up pretty soon. And that will feature Russell Brown, a Stanford All-American, now training in Eugene, an emerging miler now, and a guy to watch, and he is the subject of our Nike Athlete Insights.
In the third position.
I'm Russell Brown, 26 years old, and I am a professional track athlete. I know why I'm doing this, and I know what I want out of it. I want glory and I want victory. Winning races is the greatest feeling in the world, and everything else kind of pales in comparison. It's about winning and losing. It's not about PRing and second placing.
The New Balance men's mile here in...
The year before, I wasn't offered a spot on the starting line. You know, I mean, I didn't like that I'd been put in this position of being just a filler athlete. Coming back in, I was offered a spot, you know, right away, and I appreciated that, but I felt like I had something to prove. I wanted to show that I was, you know, somebody who belonged in the race because I was a threat to win this race, you know? I think I ended up 5th or 6th off the line, but we were moving right along. You know, luckily enough, Nick Willis made the decision, which is really hard for all of us to make, to push that pace and take the lead. And I guess it was at that point that people started falling back. First person I saw go was Alan Webb. I remember seeing his body language change a couple of laps in, and my old Stanford teammate Garrett Heath and I, we went around him because that's what you had to do. You know, you can't think twice even though it's him. Then Hinak Legesse, the good 1500 runner from Ethiopia, the same thing happened to him. He kind of went backwards. And then we're a lap to go. I see Garrett start moving around Nick Wiggs, who's the guy I was sure was, you know, gonna win now that everyone else had fallen off. If Garrett's going, I have to go. My momentum took me right by Garrett, and once I was in the lead, you can't stop moving. I was trying to think, keep your legs moving and be ready to react, be ready to react. I thought that everybody was on my shoulder. They were just waiting for that last stretch to move around. Maybe 15 meters from the line, I heard the announcer say, Russell Brown has this wrapped up.
Russell Brown for the USA takes a big win here.
It was kind of mind-blowing, it really was.
I mean, I can't believe it, honestly. I can't believe it. This is what we train for, you know?
I don't think my perspective is that different. I still feel like I have something to prove every time I step on the track. Because in my mind, you know, once an underdog, always an underdog.
And Russell Brown will have a chance to prove himself today at the Penn Relays, anchoring the USA Red Team in the distance medley relay, and joining the veteran Bernard Lagat, the men's distance medley relay, when we return to Philly. ESPN coverage of Major League Baseball continues Sunday and Monday night. First on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. It's David Wright and the New York Mets. They hit the road to face Ryan Howard and the Phillies. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, A-Rod and the Yankees head to Detroit to take on Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. Major League Baseball on ESPN Sunday and Monday night. And we're now ready back on the track for the Nike Men's Distance Medley Relay. And this is a very unique relay event as we take a look at the World and Penn Relays records along with the American record. And unique in terms of the distances. If you're not familiar with it, the first leg, 1,200 meters, then a 400, then the 800, and the 1,600 meter leg, as we look at the fields with Kenya, USA Red, Australia, Canada, Ethiopia, Morocco, and USA Blue. And as I mentioned, these are the legs. The splits that will be run. You kind of got a nice mix of distance and the sprints. Otto Bolden joining me now as you step into newfound territory. How about that? But this is a really unique event as we are now underway with the Nike Men's Distance Medley Relay. And leading off for the USA Red Team is Bernard Lagat. And we saw Russell Brown earlier. He will be anchoring that team. But there has been an interesting bit of history here in this race because Kenya has dominated this event over the last several years, winning 2008, 9, and 10. And so USA Red Team will have on their mind to try and put together the performance. Started off by Legat and anchored by Russell Brown to see if they can turn the tables here at the 117th Penn Relays. At the moment, Kenya in the lead. And Australia following right behind them. And then Bernard Legat there in the red singlet. For the USA red team, he is in third.
When you look at this, you can't help but remember once upon a time, Bernard Legat used to be at the Penn Relays as a Kenyan. Of course, switched to citizenship, and now he is wearing the colors of the USA as he tucks into second, Australia in third.
We've got a very fast pace. The first split right at 53.8. And again, this is 1,200 meters, the first leg. And Legat last competed here at the Penn Relays back in 2006. There you see him right in the middle in the red singlet. He was beaten by Alex Kipchirchir of Kenya on the anchor leg. And so you know Legat is remembering that as he brings it around to finish up the second lap here in the first of 4 legs in the distance medley.
This is a little bit of speed work here for Legat, because as he gets older, he has started to move up towards the natural progression of him running that 5,000. So doing a little bit of speed work here for Legat, former world champion at 1,500. Stepping down even further and handling the leadoff duties, 1,200 meter leg for the USA Red.
So it's Kenya, USA Red, Morocco, and Australia. And knowing Bernard Legat like we do, and just like clockwork, Legat makes a move to take the lead.
But he has some company, because right there in the second now, I believe that is Morocco. Yep. Mohamed Mustawi, right, covering the move by Legat in the second.
So it's Bernard Legat leading the USA Red team, followed by Morocco and then USA Blue. And then here's Australia on the outside now, moving up into third. And that is Ryan Gregson with a nice move on the outside. And now Bernard Legat on the home straightaway, and he'll make the pass to Michael Tinsley for the 400-meter section of this event. Michael Tinsley now with the baton for USA Red, and Sean Rowe of Australia in the back of that group.
Sean Rowe, very talented youngster from Australia. Let's see if he can make a dent. Michael Tinsley has done the right thing. He took off very, very hard and has now put the USA Red into the driver's seat with a very good first 100. But watch for Sean Rowe, a young man from Australia with world and Olympic experience, if he can close this gap. There's Rowe right on cue in the third for Australia. Morocco holding tough in second.
And coming up the home straight, Michael Tinsley trying to hold on to the lead. And Morocco with a nice run. Tinsley hands off to Dwayne Solomon, who will now begin the 800-meter leg.
A little change of pace, up from 1,200 down to 400, now back to this 800-meter leg.
So it's USA Red, Australia, Morocco, and then USA Blue. And Otto stepping back to Bernard Legat's segment. He ran 2:48.3. That was his split. An excellent time for Legat to lead off this distance medley relay.
Now Dwayne Solomon content to back off the pace just a little bit. That's Renshaw of Australia handling these 800-meter duties. And we can't forget Nick Simmons, who's just coming into picture for USA Blue on this 800-meter leg.
Nick Simmons, American champion and Olympian from Beijing, as Dwayne Solomon approaches now with 1 lap to go before they hand off for the 1,600-meter leg.
We know Simmons in his 800-meter runs likes to run a bit behind the pace, but he has to be thinking, this is ridiculous, guys. I need to be a little bit closer to do some real damage on this 800-meter leg. Nick Simmons about 15 meters back now from third place, Morocco.
And so down the back straightaway, it's USA Red and Australia. And Dwayne Solomon continuing to hold on to the lead. He ran a 1:44.3 split last year for the white team. Don't think he's going that fast this year, but nonetheless holding off Australia now, who's going to begin to make a push on the outside. And Renshaw of Australia challenging Solomon now as they make the handoff. And here's Russell Brown, who will now take the baton for the USA Red team for the 1600 meters portion.
And based on how Russell Brown looked indoors, this has to set up very, very well for this USA Red team. This is a young man who you saw in the pre-recorded piece, an emerging star in the middle distances for the USA.
And Otto, it's worth mentioning that the U.S. is looking for its first win in the distance medley relay. This is the only event they have not won at the Penn Relay, so a bit of history on the line here, and it's on the shoulders of Russell Brown.
And 146.3 for Solomon for USA Red on that 800-meter leg.
So amazingly, the crowd rather quiet. They're reserving themselves for the last lap when they expect to see some fireworks. And Russell Brown has a nice, comfortable command of this mile segment of the distance medley relay. And Jeff Breesley of Australia comfortably behind him in second. Morocco, just about 15-20 meters behind, is in third, followed by USA Blue. And that is Leo Manzano. Africa is out of contention. They are way back in fifth right now. They've got a pretty big gap. Right now the story, Russell Brown of USA Red continuing to lead, and you can see that the pace seems to have slowed down a bit. Kind of hard to judge when you've got the different distances, and so the tempo does change. But Brown now seems to be reserving himself just a bit for that kick maybe over the last lap or so.
And I wonder how much of last year's anchor leg is going through Reesley's mind. He challenged for the lead with about 100 to go and then died the most horrible death at Penn Relays, finishing fifth. You know that this year he's probably thinking, let me save just a little bit more in the tank, and not only that, maybe make my move a little bit closer to the finish line. So a nice little battle setting up here between Reesley and Russell Brown of the USA Red team.
If you think back to last year's run, Reesley of Australia challenged for the lead with 100 meters to go, but he ended up fifth, ran 3:59.6 as the anchor leg. The young man who won the Australian national title in the 1500 meters 2 weeks ago. So we know Reesley's in great shape. And look at how this pack has now gone from 2 to 4 as USA Red continues to hold the lead. They seem to be jogging out on the backstretch now. It's Australia. Morocco is now closed. And now Manzano of USA Blue is right there. And I got to tell you, if you know anything about Leo Manzano, this is shaping up to be exactly what he wants, because he has so many times running for the University of Texas and now moving to the world stage, had these incredible kicks as Manzano. There he is on the back. He may be small, but don't be fooled by that. He is an absolute tactician, Manzano is, in the very back. And I bet he's salivating right now at the opportunity. Coming up now with 1 lap to go.
There's no question that it was sort of a mistake for Brown to slow that pace so much that you let Leo Manzano in the picture. A young man with world championship and Olympic experience. And let's just face it, he is one of the best closers for the USA, and now they have let him into the conversation. The question is, what does Manzano have to say?
Well, it's going to be loud. If you go back to the 2008 Collegiate DMR, Manzano did the exact same thing for Texas. He got up, took the lead, and wasted the field. And now Manzano made the one move and came back. Surprised to see that. But it's USA Red, Morocco, Australia. Manzano now falling off the place for USA Blue. But here's Russell Brown's moment here at the Penn Relays, a chance to grow up from the Stanford All-American down to an athlete on the big stage. But on the outside, it's Morocco with the big move. And then Australia, Jeff Breesley. And Morocco will win the distance medley relay.
So the USA, yet again, fails to win this event. I was shocked to see how well they covered Manzano's move. He made that move early. They responded to it, and he was the one who found himself in trouble with about 200 meters to go. A fantastic run by Lalou of Morocco to hold off. Reesley as well did well. Not a spectacular collapse. He's disappointed nonetheless. Lalou 54.1 for Morocco. And with just about 200 to go, Brown looked very, very good. There's Lalou content in second. Reesley beginning to make his move. Manzano is completely out of it and struggling in fourth. And then they were able to overhaul Russell Brown as Lalou held off Reesley and got the win for Morocco.
Well, an excellent run by Amin Lalou in the middle of the track there with the Moroccan jersey, the record holder for their nation at 800 meters. And he showed you why, because he had great sprint speed just when it counted. And now we go down below to Dwight Stones with Russell Brown.
Well, Lewis, one of the up-and-coming stars on the U.S. scene, Russell Brown, who had a breakthrough moment in Boston indoors, and then last week ran a new personal best in the 1,500 meter. What's going on? It's a little early in the season.
Yeah, it's a little early, and, you know, I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't be doing at this point in the season. I'm doing my training like I should, and sometimes fast times come when you don't expect them, you know? That's all.
We'll talk about what happened in this race. You didn't know Kenya had a trouble with the stick, but you're up there leading that 1,600-meter leg. You knew something had to happen on that last 200 meters, right?
Well, you know, sometimes being in the lead can be helpful, and I was just planning on, you know, being aware enough to react to people when they came on me, and I did that. Lalu made a move. I picked it up right away, you know, held my place through the turn, and just went into final gear a little too early, you know, and just wasn't able to respond. I mean, it's disappointing. I'm really disappointed. I feel like I let down everybody, you know, but I did my best, and, well, I got to be happy with that right now, I guess.
All righty, good job.
Thanks.
All right, Dwight, well, Russell Brown has some things to think about, but it's Amin Lalu from Morocco who brings his team around. They win it. Australia finishing in second, and USA Red in third. And more action to come from the Penn relays when we return. USA versus the world continues at the Penn relays in Philadelphia. And there's a great shot of City Hall in downtown. And they're lamenting the fact that the 76ers have been eliminated from the NBA playoffs, but the action continues on Sunday afternoon on ABC with 2 games. First at 1 Eastern, the Grizzlies head to Oklahoma City for Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Thunder. Then at 3:30 Eastern, catch Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis as the Heat host the defending Eastern Conference champions, the Celtics. The NBA playoffs on ABC, home of the NBA Finals, Sunday. Coverage begins with the Buick Regal NBA Countdown at 12:30 Eastern. Well, lots of action happening here today in the Penn relays, and earlier today it was the college women's 4x800 meter relay. And check out this battle coming down the home straightaway. It's Duke trying to hold off Georgetown with Tennessee fading, and in the end, Duke is able to hold on. They defeat Georgetown and also the 2-time defending champions Tennessee. Duke with a big win. Congrats to Norm Ogilvie, who brought his ladies to the Penn relays, and they're awfully excited with their accomplishment. Well, also some sad news to report today in the world of track and field. Greta Weitz passed away April 19th after a long battle with cancer. And during her running career, she won a record 9 New York City marathons, was a 2-time world record holder in the 3,000 meters, won a world championship in the marathon, and captured a silver medal for Norway in the same event at the 1984 Olympics. Greta Weitz was 57. ABC's Wide World of Sports made its debut on April 29, 1961, with a young Jim McKay hosting. The show featured coverage of both the Drake relays and the Penn relays. And over the years, the show covered events ranging from bowling to badminton, high life to demolition derby, and boxing to figure skating during a 37-year run. But it all started 50 years and 1 day ago, right here at the Penn relays, part of the rich fabric of the Penn relays. And we're back on the track. More history ready to be made right now with the Nike women's 4x400 meter relay. And you see the best time of the world set right now at by Texas A&M. And there is the Penn relays record. Maybe it's under threat. And Allison Felix has already had a big day, part of that 4x100 meter relay win.
And what a race it was. She has been on the last 4 winners in the 4x1 at the Penn relays. A masterful job down the backstretch, and made it a very easy day for Carmelita Jeter as the USA continues their dominance here at the Penn relays in the 4x1.
And so, Otto, let's take a look at USA Team Red, which will be led off by Debbie Dunn.
And Debbie Dunn was the 2010 World Indoor Champion. But look at second third and fourth. What talent and what experience. Sanya Richards-Ross raising her hand. She's the world champion at 400. And Allison Felix, of course, three-time world champion at 200.
And in lane 7, Jamaica.
And on your screen is actually Sharika Williams. She was second to Sanya Richards at the World Championships in 2009 at 400 meters.
And a look at the rest of the field. The first 3 lanes are open, so it's USA Blue in 4, Grenada in 5, USA Red in 6, Jamaica 7. Canada will occupy lane 8, and then against the wall there on the outside, the World All-Stars in 9.
And that USA Red team in 6. We talked about Allison Felix on the second leg. 50.7 is her slowest time on that second leg in the past 4 years.
An interesting dynamic here. Everyone is still in their seats. They're beginning to rise now. Jamaica's last win, you have to go back to 2001. This has been an all-USA story. Will that change today?
Very unlikely with the team that USA Red has assembled.
And a fair start in the women's 4x4. USA Blue in 4, Grenada, USA Red in 6, and Jamaica in 7, Canada and the World All-Stars.
And that's Debbie Dunn. She has a personal best of 49.64. Out very well now for USA Red. Dee Dee Trotter, the Olympic gold medalist in this event, the 4x4 in Beijing, in lane 4.
Listen to that crowd as they come around the bend.
Dee Dee Trotter has given herself a whole lot of work. Right now it is, in fact, USA Red and Debbie Dunn, and Jamaica as well. Sharika Williams, remember the World Championship silver medalist at 400.
And here's the first exchange.
Allison Felix gets that stick, and like she has done for the past 4 years, immediately sprints to the first 50 and has put herself in the driver's seat. We'll see if she can make her customary move down the backstretch as Jamaica and USA Blue give chase.
Debbie Dunn with a 51.6, but it's Allison Felix who's been among the 4 winningest teams and has always run the fastest splits. Allison Felix, with 200 to go, has taken a commanding lead.
And they are not letting Allison Felix separate. Remember, Allison Felix is going to try to do that 400-200 double, but she really has had some company here on this second leg.
USA Red with Felix. Now it's the blue team coming up, and Jamaica in 3rd for the 3rd exchange.
That's as much as I've seen Allison Felix struggle, and now we have a real race between USA Blue and USA Red, with Jamaica just about 5 meters behind.
And that is Kasija Barker, the first time wearing a USA uniform for USA Blue. And she is holding her on the backstretch as USA Red is in 2nd with Natasha Hastings.
We expected this to be USA versus Jamaica. Right now it's shaping up to be USA versus USA. 49.8 on that leg for Felix, but she didn't look as comfortable as she usually does. And here's Natasha Hastings trying to make a move from 2nd.
Baker trying to make her case to be a part of the World Championship relay talk when the team goes to the Worlds soon. And now making her exchange, Baker hands it off to Monica Hargrove, and there goes Sanya Richards.
And Sanya Richards probably figured she'd have an easy run today. She has a little bit of company in the person of Monica Hargrove. But remember, this young lady, Sanya Richards, the Olympic bronze medalist and World Championship gold medalist, but she hasn't separated just yet. And here comes Jamaica. That's Khalees Spencer for Jamaica, who has put herself right in the middle of this. Is she going to make a move past the world champion? That might have been the race of the day here at the Penn Relays. Wow, what a great run by Sanya Richards to cover that move by Khalees Spencer. Khalees Spencer ran a great leg. I just think she made that move a little too early. No shame for her because she came from way back to get Jamaica back in it. But Sanya Richards, the world champion of 400 meters, was able to hold on. A great job, too, by USA Blues' Monica Hargrove. When Sanya Richards got that stick, you had to think she was going to be able to separate, but she was not able to separate.
Richards-Ross can put up that finger that she's #1 because she really managed herself well on that backstretch.
Look at Monica Hargrove as Khalees Spencer. She's a 400-meter hurdler, but probably having the best start to her season ever. She was quoted recently as saying she is ready to run both, and did she ever? Look at her closing down on the world champion, Sanya Richards. But Sanya Richards was equal to the task. And I think the mistake that Khalees Spencer made right here was trying to pass on that turn. Sanya Richards only ran 51.2. That's pedestrian by her standards. And it let Khalees Spencer in for just a minute. But she was able to hold on in that last 50 meters as Jamaica has to settle for third despite the great move. And Monica Hargrove looked very good, running step for step almost the whole way with the world champion.
Well, Sanya Richards-Ross with the concentration and takes USA Red to victory, and now she's with Dwight.
All right, Lewis, Sanya, I think that this race proves that the U.S. has a lot of depth in the 4x4 and in the 400 open. But were you expecting that kind of a race here?
Absolutely. I know the coaches had a hard time selecting an A and B team. So many of the ladies are running well, so I'm happy that we're able to come out on top. But it was definitely a great effort for USA.
Natasha, you also did a very nice job keeping USA Red in the lead, but the pass was outstanding in order to get Sanya the stick in front.
Oh my God, that was the hardest 400 I've ever run. I ran the entire thing in lane 2. So I'm just happy that I could get a clean pass to Sanya and we could come home with the victory.
And Allison, big day for you. Really blew it open that first 200. It took its toll.
Yeah, Francina was coming for me. I think she passed me, but she ran amazing, like 48 something. But it's just good to be part of this team.
And Debbie, great job. Nice job, USA Red, with an outstanding early season time. Lewis?
All right, Dwight, thanks. Well, a celebratory USA Red team, and my goodness, what depth they do have for the United States in the 400. And it's worth one more look as Sanya Richards concentrates on that home straightaway. Khalees Spencer of Jamaica made the crowd go crazy, but ultimately it was a victorious final 50 meters by Sanya Richards-Ross. She celebrates here at the Penn Relays. We're back with more action in just a few moments. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues Sunday and Monday night. First on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern, the New York Mets hit the road to face the Phillies. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, the Yankees head to Detroit to take on the Tigers. Major League Baseball on ESPN Sunday and Monday night. Well, we've been sitting here all day, Otto, watching the developments, and we might as well pull up a scorecard to see how the United States and Jamaica has been doing. What do we have?
Well, this is the only column that matters. First place, you see Jamaica 2, USA 2. So it's tied going into the tiebreaker, and you have to like the USA's chances to pull it out.
Absolutely.
Simply because they do not often lose a mile relay.
Yeah, the last time they lost was back in 2005 when Jamaica won, but no one's expecting that today as we take a look at the records. And is the Penn Relays record of 256.60 in jeopardy? That's set way back in 2000. As we take now a look at the USA Red team featuring a couple of absolutely decorated Americans.
And third and fourth legs, Bashawn Jackson, #1 in the world of 400 hurdles, and Angelo Taylor, Olympic champion of 400 hurdles.
And USA Blue will be down in lane 1.
And this is David Neville, the Olympic bronze medalist in Beijing at 400. Karan Clement, the world champion at 400-meter hurdles.
And then you've got a small nation that really piques your interest that they've been able to be so successful, although so tiny.
How amazing is this? South Caribbean island. They have Karani James on second, Rondell Bartholomew on anchor. Bartholomew has the fastest time in the world at 400 at 44.65. And then Karani James, fourth fastest ever this year, 44.80 indoors 400.
As you take a look now at the rest of the field, USA Blue way down in lane 1. USA Red in 6. And the Bahamas, watch out for them, anchored by Chris Brown. They're in 8, Kenya in 9.
So Karani James on that second leg for Grenada has been allowed to compete with Grenada so they can attempt to qualify for the World Championships. This may turn out to be more of the same as we saw in the women's race, USA versus USA. Jamaica did not bring a particularly good team. They left home their national record holder, Jermaine Gonzalez.
Beautiful sun-splashed afternoon. 48,000 here at Franklin Field, ready to watch the 4x4. And we are underway in the Visa Men's 4x400 meter relay, USA versus the world.
And the first move made is by Ramon Miller of the Bahamas. USA red with Quentin Summers, also keeping pace and making up just a little bit of ground on the teams to the outside.
Otto, I got to tell you, I love the way the tension and the energy builds in the stadium. Track and field fans who are absolutely savvy and can get into it. In the early legs, they're just waiting for something to stand up about, and maybe they have it right now as Michael Mason for Jamaica turns the corner. He's a little bit behind, but here comes the first exchange.
And it is, in fact, the Bahamas that hand off. First, this is Ramon McKenzie for Jamaica, but on that second leg, Jamal Torrance into the lead for the United States. Bahamas just to his outside. They're going to make that turn happen now. And now the cut for the inside.
And so in the colors of the Bahamas, the light blue, they have now drifted back into second.
So the outside lanes will move in and the inside lanes move out. And the Bahamas, you talked about the fact that they are a threat, and they're giving the USA red team everything they can handle now.
So here's Jamal Torrance of the USA Red coming up to bring the baton to Bershawn Jackson. Batman is there with the Bahamas. Look at him right there in second with Andre Williams.
And the noise you heard from the crowd was because of a stellar second leg by Karani James. 44.8 for Torrance on that leg for the United States. 44.6 for James.
Batman leading the USA Red team, followed by Justin Gaiman. Actually, for the Bahamas, that is Andre Williams.
Simply amazing that the Bahamas, with 250,000 people on that island, can always field such competitive women's and men's sprint relay teams. As Bershawn Jackson now begins to distance himself, and he will hand off now to the two-time Olympic champion, Angelo Taylor.
So the United States Red team has a commanding lead, anchored by Angelo Taylor, as you mentioned, the two-time Olympic gold medalist in the 400-meter hurdles. The Bahamas in second, followed by USA Blue and Grenada.
And Angelo Taylor knows that guy, Chris Brown, has a good record here at Penn, and he's a 44 flat guy. Look at the anchor leg. We talked about Bartholomew from Grenada. Look at this young man rise to the occasion and make his Penn relay statement. I don't think he's going to be able to catch the Olympic champion, Angelo Taylor, but what a great leg, and it seems almost clear now that Grenada will qualify for the World Championships as Angelo Taylor hangs on for the win.
Angelo Taylor with the successful anchor for USA Red. And the Bahamas with an excellent closing leg with Chris Brown. But you mentioned Grenada making that statement on this big stage that they will be one to reckon with as we move toward the World Championships.
And you heard two big moves, and the big oohs from the crowd were because of those moves from Grenada. This is the second leg. As you see Jamal Torrance, Bahamas were in this the whole way, but look at Karani James coming out of nowhere. This young man, we told you, 44.8 indoors. That's the fourth fastest time ever. He put Grenada right back in it. And then on the third leg, Bershawn Batman Jackson, the #1 ranked 400-meter hurdler in the world. And Bahamas were close early, but then Batman began to separate. Look at the change in cadence from Batman as he begins to separate and hands off to the anchor leg, Angelo Taylor, as Grenada and Bartholomew come right up into third. Bahamas hanging on in second. Angelo Taylor wins, and Dwight is downstairs with the winning team.
All right, Otto. Angelo, you've won 2 Olympic gold medals, individual events. Is there a greater thrill than anchoring a great U.S. team?
It's always a great thrill to anchor the U.S. team, especially here at Penn Relays. but the crowd is tremendous. It's always a great showing. And when I run with a great group of guys like this, it's just fun.
That, man, a lot of respect for the 400 hurdlers in these two teams. 5 out of 8 are hurdlers. What's up?
You know, 400 hurdlers are really strong. We got 800 endurance and sprint speed, so it's always a good thing. You see 400 hurdlers be versatile.
Jamal, you did a nice job getting Batman the stick so you could take off. You knew he got out like a rocket.
Yeah, I do. Batman was their partner, so I know how to bring it on to him. I know get the job done.
All right, Quentin, nice job in the leadoff. USA Red victorious 10 out of 11 times for the U.S.
Yeah, their dominance is awfully evident here at the Penn Relays. And look at that experience of Angelo Taylor as he leads the team to victory. In the final results, the USA Red team wins. Bahamas second, Grenada third. Stay right where you are. More collegiate relay action coming when we return. Gill Athletics, USA Track and Field's official equipment supplier, is once again proud to be the sponsor of the High School Coach of the Year Award for both men and women's teams. The winning coaches are determined by both accomplishments on the track and in the community. Winners will be awarded $5,000 in Gill Athletics equipment for their teams, and they will also receive a trip to the USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships in Eugene, Oregon. So for details and nominations forms, please go to GillCoachOfTheYear.com and make sure all of your submissions are in by May 22nd. Now, moments ago, a huge surprise in the collegiate women's 4x400 meter relay championship of America. Texas A&M came into this race with the fastest time collegiately, 3:27.33. But watch what happens here right before the final exchange.
Andrea Sutherland running third leg for the Aggies is bumped by Kendra Chambers of Texas. Sutherland carrying that stick just a little bit too carelessly and swinging it wide. She makes contact with Chambers. And just as the men had their issues dropping that stick last year, the A&M women have huge difficulty and throwing what is almost certainly a Penn Relays title here in 2011.
Well, this is pretty amazing to see on the home straightaway and not in an actual exchange, but Sutherland loses the baton. Chantel Malone comes up with the victory for Texas, but a disappointed Sutherland stopped to talk to Dwight.
I'm here with Andrea Sutherland from the Texas Aggies. Could you explain to us what happened with that drop stick in the 4x400?
Actually, she came right up on me, but then it's just unfortunate. We like collided a little bit, and then the stick just fell out my hand.
With the kind of team you have this year and the kind of times you've run this year, this has to be incredibly disappointing.
It is very disappointing. I can't explain. I feel really hurt about that, but it's just one of those days. Things happen, and we can't really get too down about it.
Has anything like this ever happened to you in the 4x400 before?
No, I never had that kind of experience before.
Okay. Thanks for bucking up on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sutherland is upset, but the fault really lies with her. This is a contact sport, and there's nothing that Chambers did. Chambers of Texas, just minor contact with her hand, but she was holding that stick so carelessly that's why that stick ended up on the ground.
And worth one more look as the fans were watching and waiting for this final exchange, but the stick hits the ground, and a huge disappointment for Texas A&M. And the final results, Texas wins their 10th 4x400 meter title at 3:30.08. LSU second, and A&M does get back up for third. And so a little chat between Pat Henry and a hug from Jessica Beard, the All-American. Well, a big disappointment for the ladies of A&M, but the men will have their opportunity now as we get set for what tradition calls as the closing race of the Penn Relays, the collegiate men's 4x400 meter relay. And a look at the field. Lane 1 is open. You've got the Longhorns of Texas, George Mason, Texas Tech, UTEC, LSU, the Aggies of Texas A&M in 7, Johnson C. Smith, and Arkansas.
Well, what a job Vince Anderson is doing down there in College Station. He has both the men's and the women's teams leading the country. The A&M men were on their way to victory until they dropped the stick last year to Barry Henry, guilty of that. Brian Miller leads off for them this year.
And a fair start in the college men's 4x4 championship of America. Texas A&M, LSU, Mississippi State, UTEC, Arkansas, Texas Tech, George Mason, and Penn State.
And it is Brian Miller third from the left of your picture, making a nice move. Keep your eye also on UTEC. They are the lone Jamaican entrant in this field, and a lot of the Jamaican fans have stuck around to cheer on this Kingston team.
So the Aggies are going to try and make amends just a bit for what the ladies were not able to do, and coming up the home straightaway, they look to be in good position as they make the first exchange.
And it is, in fact, the Aggies of A&M that hand off first. And this is now Tran Howell, who will handle the second leg duties with LSU giving chase.
Tran Howell hitting that back straightaway. And Alien Forte of LSU now following behind in second.
And you talk about everyone still being in the race. Look at them bunched together now. This is very much a race as we get to about 100 meters to go in this second leg.
And that's UTEC of Jamaica in third, but LSU swinging wide, trying to make that move on Texas A&M. And here comes Alien Forte. He pulls even with A&M. And now looking for the nice exchange. Safe passes by everyone, and A&M continues to hold the lead now with Tabari Henry, who took a nasty spill on the indoor national.
And you have to think, Lewis, after his debacle last year, he does not want, as we see immediately, UTEC going right by Tabari Henry. So he had a tough year last year. Let's wait and see if he can cover that move. But UTEC has really made a nice move. That's Peter Matthews making a good move and putting UTEC. But here comes Tabari Henry right back at him.
So Tabari Henry, shocked on the backstretch, has a great reaction coming up the home straightaway. And Henry says, not so fast, young man, as he brings A&M back in the lead. And here's his pass to Demetrius Pender as they take the bell.
And the senior from the Bahamas is Pender. You have to like A&M's chances. These young men leading the country. UTEC made a fantastic move on third, but Henry was able to cover it. And now look at LSU, a nice move now by Riker Hilton. He's also Jamaican, ran 45.9, and he has now put LSU right back in it. 44.9 for Henry on that third leg for A&M, but look at this battle shaping up for the collegiate title.
It's the perfect close to the Penn relays. Texas A&M, anchored by Demetrius Pender, able to hold off Riker Hilton of LSU. And this is the close. A&M wins the 4x400 meter collegiate relay to close out the 2011 Penn relays.
So the women had an issue with dropping the stick, but the A&M men make up for their problems last year when that stick saw this ground here at Franklin Field.
And that move by UTEC on the backstretch was something to watch.
It really was. Third leg, there's UTEC going right by LSU. That's Peter Matthews. And he went right by Tabari Henry as well. But he made that move too soon. When you make that move early, you better have enough gas to get all the way home. Tabari Henry says, up, you're out of gas, here I go. And he brings LSU with him. That's Alain Forte of Trinidad and Tobago. And then once A&M got that stick on anchor, Demetrius Pender, the senior from the Bahamas, did a good job of holding off the rest of this field. LSU made a valiant effort. Riker Hilton from Jamaica. But A&M had enough to respond and showed you why they are the collegiate leaders. And now, Penn Relay's 2011 champions.
So Texas A&M is able to hold on and get the victory in the last bit of the Penn Relays. As we take a look at the final results, their time 3:01.73, LSU finishing in second, and Texas Tech in third. USA versus the world at the Penn Relays has been brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of Team USA. More people go with Visa. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And Nike Running. Okay, Otto, time for a final check of our USA versus the world scorecard.
And you look in that first column, and the USA has to be happy about that. The new relay coach, John Drummond, 3-2 over Jamaica.
And our BMW Ultimate Performance of the Meet goes to the ladies of the United States in 2 events, the 4x100-meter relay and the 4x4.
Williams to Felix to Myers to Jeter in the 4x1, and then Sonia Richards was able to hold off her countrywomen from USA Blue as well as Jamaica.
Well, Otto, it's been another spectacular day of track and field at the Penn Relays. Coming up next, it's Friday Night Fights. We say a special farewell to Brian Brazzi of USA Track and Field, wishing him the best. So for our entire crew, this is Lewis Johnson saying so long from Franklin Field. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.